Hey everyone, welcome to today's episode of This is Why Your Life is Absolute Chaos and You Can Never Sort Your Crap Out. This is a flip through of my 2021 life and mental health bullet journal. I did it very differently in 2021 to how I'm doing things in 2022. And yeah, this is kind of a brutally honest look at how things have been for me. If you are watching this hoping to see a beautiful bullet journal with all of the layouts filled in and every single month has a gorgeous theme that I've put hours of work into and have made it look great, please turn off now because you will be bitterly disappointed. And in all honesty, I am bitterly disappointed that I don't get to show you that. However, when it came to deciding to do this video, I even considered not doing a flip through at all for this and my reading journal. But then I was like, hey, I have kind of built this channel to be honest and true. So this is my honest truth, is the year has not done great things for me, and it started off fantastically and I have lovely filled in spreads, but it very quickly tapered off and I haven't quite got back on it. So yeah, this is very open, very honest, and shows you kind of what happens when things go wrong and what happens when you get so wrapped up in the trying to make things look pretty and putting that pressure on yourself and then end up just giving up completely. Because for me, it was partly that whole trying to maintain it every month, but then it was also the doubting my abilities and how good I was. And so instead of using my bullet journal for actual work and bullet journaling like I should have been, I just got to the point where I started hating it and I didn't want to continue. We're going to go through because I am very proud of some of this, and there's one month in particular that, oh my god, I'm so happy with. And I wanted to share it, and I wanted to be honest and open and say, you know what, it's been a crap year, and I'm going to share that with you in a positive way. The candle that I'm going to be lighting is my Sally, is it? No, this is Jack Frost. So it's inspired by the Christmas character Jack Frost. And because the story of Jack Frost is Scandinavian, I've tried to make it quite Scandinavian. So there's the smell of snow and pine, and I've also got some winter berries in there. And it's a very fresh, refreshing and light smell. I haven't put a label on this one because this is one of my stock that I can't sell because the wick is too far over. If you saw my setup video from last year, you'll know how a lot of these spreads looked at the start of the year. But we started off with a little opening page with my name and just a little sticker of positivity saying you can do it, just to set the mood and the whole trying to be positive. I went for kind of like a rose gold and pink theme for my yearly layouts, which you'll see as we go through the book. Contents, I kind of didn't deal with those. 2021 intro page that I'm still quite happy with this. Like, I can see things that I could have improved, but I'm still very happy with how that came out. I then did a bit of a reflection on 2020, and I called it 2020 a year of triumph and despair. And then I just did my own personal reflections about how things were and my favourite memories. And then I did 10 things that happened through 2020. And then we had my hopes for 2021, and just very quickly going through it now, I'm like, consume less sugar. I have been doing that and things are going really well with that. Read a good number of books. I've done that. I am on 60 something books now. Getting a driving license and a car, that kind of stopped for obvious reasons. Moved to a bigger house, we have postponed. Get engaged, that happened in April, so that was probably my biggest hope, and we're now wedding planning. And then yeah, developing more skills. I've been working on my art. We won't talk about savings. So most of those have come true. My goals, I'm not going to go through because they're quite personal to me. My vision board, just to help me keep a clear focus on some of those goals. But then I'm a little bit behind on this one, I need to update it, but we have my memories snapshots. I got this from Temi Danzo, I loved her layout. So got January from my birthday. February, when we had our quite a lot of snow. March, I got my vaccination. April, we got engaged. May, I got my little leopard gecko, who was a 30th / engagement present from Rob. And then June, July, August, September, October, November, I have gotten a bit slack on, because it was about June was when my mental health just completely took a turn and I was really struggling. And it's only been in the last sort of month that it started to come back again. My dopa menu that I recorded based on How to ADHD's video, and I've not even looked at it, to be honest. Throughout the year I've had a self-care bingo, and I have used this a little bit. Like when I was really bad with my mental health, I'd occasionally go through and just see if there was something on here that I could do to try and perk myself up that day, but I've not really done as much. And I don't know if this is one that I'll do next year. I haven't decided. My year in pixels started out really strong. So January, February, March, I was on it. I was up to date on everything. And then it was sort of like from April that things went a bit and like I said, from sort of June, I basically did nothing in my journals. I still love this little spread with today's mood, and I still want to try it next year. In my mental health journal, I kind of want to give this another go and see if I can keep it up, but we'll see. I then had my movies, TV, video game and anime stuff that I wanted to get to. So we had Night of the Movies, where I wrote in films that I wanted to watch this year and then colour them in as I got to them. You can see I've done so great on that. Same with TV. I've watched quite a lot of Buffy this year. I've nearly watched all of that. Cobra Kai, I'm completely up to date. WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier I've done. Angel, I haven't coloured it in, but I did get to season 2. Loki I was meant to add in there and didn't, but I have watched Loki. And then Once Upon a Time, we kind of got to season 3 and then we've just not carried on. I've seen it. I've seen every episode of Once Upon a Time, but I'm watching it with my housemate, and we're only on to I think we've started season 4 now. Then gaming, I had like ones that I owned that I wanted to start this year, and I can actually colour in one of those because I have started one of those. I have started Assassin's Creed Valhalla and I've been really enjoying it. I still haven't done Uncharted or Shadow of the Colossus. I haven't bought God of War. And Genshin Impact, turns out, is not a game you can complete. It's just an open world, and it's one of those that they'll just keep expanding, and it's not really going to have a completion to it. Devil May Cry 5, I've nearly finished. Final Fantasy 7 I did complete, and I've done 2 more run-throughs. And then Wolfenstein 2, I have not. I've worked out with that one. I really don't enjoy the game play, but I love the story, and I just sort of sit and watch Rob play, and that's how I get the story. And then anime, we've got a few that I started. So I started Dr. Stone. I didn't enjoy it, so I have stopped. Fire Force, I got bored halfway through the first episode, so I stopped. I have finished Fruits Basket, and I'm about halfway through Inuyasha. So those were, again, for me, those were rewatches, but I was meaning this with my housemate. And then I haven't done Sailor Moon or Card Captors. I just haven't. Instead, I've just watched My Hero Academia like 6 times this year. Let me know in the comments if you are in that same position. My Disney checklist, we basically, let's not even talk about that. We did not complete that. We did not get on with that. Cos plans, I have not picked up any cosplay this year except Yuna. I've started to remake the staff, but now I'm kind of losing interest in her. Period tracker, started off strong again, got to April with that one. I was using this to try and help me track my periods because I wasn't very good at remembering when they were, whereas now I'm actually pretty on it. I know when I ovulate, I know when my periods are going to hit, and life has been a lot easier for me since I've made those realizations, and I now know my patterns. This thing I have used all the time. So my migraine tracker and my medication, I now need to add extra onto there because I'm now on 2 new medications as well. Like, we're just going to skip through fitness because when did I last? I should have added check this list because I have actually done some of these and then others I haven't done. So I will be using that again next year, but this time I'll actually be using it. I kind of stopped on the cleaning list because I was like, what is the point? I basically drew out stuff that I wanted to do, and then when I did it, I coloured in or filled in the box. Then did like little goals that I could work on. Winter memories. So the aim was to do like each month I was going to do a little memories thing, but I kind of, again, that just got forgotten about. We then have the start of the actual monthlies. So this is where it started off really well. January, February, March went fantastically. April, I think, also went pretty good. Yes. And from May, it kind of went. So this is where the brutal honesty comes in. January, we started off with this Nordic Arctic theme. It was "The year is yours, what will you do with it?" was the quote. We then had my goals that I wanted to do. So I had like the goals there and then how I was going to do it. My mood tracker, which I actually really liked how that came out. And I made my birthday the peak of the mountain. And then I used this feel wheel because I struggle sometimes to put into words like what emotion I'm feeling. So I'll be like, oh, I'm angry. And then it turns out, am I actually angry, or am I feeling jealous, or am I feeling disrespected? And it's just sort of helping me to really work out what I'm actually feeling. So I try to, like, at the end of every day, think about like what has been the primary mood and give a word a day of how I felt. I then tried some things that I very quickly realised I don't want to do. I started a sleep tracker and then was like, I just didn't enjoy filling it in. It was giving me headaches, so I gave up. Same with my step tracker and cleaning schedule. Again, I didn't really see the point in them. I felt like I was just adding trackers and layouts for the sake of adding them. And I was like, what actual value are these giving me? That's been a big thing for this year, has been working out what trackers and things actually work for me. But I am keeping my gratitude log because I get bogged down with negatives. So it's nice to look back and be like, do you know what? A lot of good stuff has happened. And then one thing I have done at the end of every month is a playlist and a check-in. So the top sort of between 5 and 10 songs that I've listened to that month. And then we have my I'm currently section. So I do like I'm currently loving, celebrating, writing, buying, doing and making. January I was loving writing and I was loving ham and chicken rolls. I was buying too much, including new pillows and Sims expansions. And I kind of made myself laugh because I was making waves. February, I went with a Chinese New Year theme. This says February and this says Happy New Year. If you are Chinese and I've written it wrong, please let me know. Again, we have my goals and what I was going to do towards them, my word a day that I actually filled in, and then I did a little bit of an analysis at the end. So overall, I had more positive emotions. The most common emotions were feeling inspired, successful and loving. And the one that I wanted to improve on or reduce was feeling tired, because I had that quite a lot. And then I had my mood tracker, and I didn't want to draw the lanterns myself, so I just printed out a blank sheet of uncoloured ones, and then every day I just coloured it in. My habit tracker and my gratitude log. Then I did a little bit of like an exercise and self-care spread. So I was looking at, instead of tracking every day what steps, I just did like at the end of the month how many steps I did and the average daily steps. Self-care, so my nails and just things that I did through that month to take care of myself. And then my playlist. And then so for the I'm currently in February, I was loving rhubarb and custard sweets. I was loving Cemetery Boys. I was celebrating 10 new followers on YouTube, because I think that was the month that I hit 100 subscribers. And I was making a TBR game that will be restarting this month. And yeah, I was playing so much Sims 4. Isn't that true? March is my second favourite spread that I did for the year. So after watching She-Ra twice, I realised that I am basically Entraptor. I have both ADHD and we've recently come to the realisation that I'm also autistic. And basically when I watch Entraptor, every time she's on screen, I'm like, hey, that's me. So I couldn't not. I then learned how to write the language of the first ones, and this says imperfection is beautiful, which is what Entraptor herself says quite a lot. And so yeah, I copied the font from the TV show and I did like a picture of her, and then I did like my goals. I did a content planning spread, didn't really then actually do anything with it. I used my brain, this was the first time that I did a brain dump, which has come in handy quite a lot, and I'm grateful that I've included my habit tracker. I started a health tracker as well on this one, so actually keeping a track of my headaches, so my migraines, my IBS, my bad back. At that point I'd been taking time off work, so I kept getting dizzy spells, and I also suffer with chronic fatigue, so I was just keeping track of the sort of severity, what medications I was taking. And then you got fitness. I really love my mood tracker for this month. I think it's my favourite of the mood trackers. And then word a day. But I didn't do my like little reflection on that one. I don't know why. Should have done. Self-care, my gratitude. And then this is where I started to actually include weeklies. Because I realised that being back at work, I was starting to actually need the weekly format. So I had weeklies on here with like little targets, as well as what I needed to do. Now you can see I've tried different layouts. And then I did like a little overview at the end of the month, so things that I wanted to keep, things to change, remove, and then things that I wanted to try or add for my spreads the next month, and then my playlist. And then I had done no writing that month, hence the lol. I was having bacon butties at school all the time. I was watching Hunter x Hunter, which I'm still working my way through. And then April is by far my favourite of all of my themes because it's Totoro. I did this using gouache. Gouache, I love that word. So I did this this photo using gouache and a reference picture, and we have the quote, "Always believe in yourself, do this, and no matter where you go, you will have nothing to fear," by Hayao Miyazaki, who is the guy who's like the forefather of Studio Ghibli. We had my goals and my content planning, and I've got all these little like spirits everywhere, and they're so cute, and I love it. I love the colours of this one as well, with the blues and the green. I've never really done a blue and green theme before, and I really like it. My brain dump with the cat bus, my habit tracker. This was kind of when I started to lose care for habit trackers. And then got my health and my fitness, my mood tracker that was super adorable with the little soot sprite, self-care and gratitude again. And that was the month that we got engaged, so I was obviously very happy with everything. I then started including like monthly memories and snapshots. So just got like some of the things that went on, and then some of my memories. I then have my weeklies again, where again I tried different layouts and different ideas. I definitely liked this idea of like having a weekly thing. So instead of doing a habit tracker, it was instead just a weekly thing that I needed to do. And then I forgot to do my playlist and wrap up for that month, and this is where things started to go a bit fuzzy. I left the rest of the pages blank because I didn't have enough space for everything. And then we go into book 2. And book 2 was also an Archer and Olive. It was the Clever Fox one. I got it on discount because the box was slightly damaged, so I got it for a little bit cheaper. And this, I'm not going to lie, I've barely done anything in, and this is where the complete honesty comes through, where I tell you how life can be a bit shit. So May, I did a sort of lights and blue and gold theme, and the quote, "This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine." And I had my goals and my content, and then I just faded. I just didn't get around to setting everything up. I did do a little bit of gratitude, so adopting Sky, who's my gecko, who turned out to be a boy, so I've renamed him Guy. My gran went into hospital at that point, and at that point, at the end of May, we thought she was going to be okay. June, unfortunately, she passed away while she was still in hospital. I didn't keep track of my mood. That was supposed to be like light bulbs, and I think I got disheartened by how bad it looked. And this is where I started to get really annoyed at myself because my skills weren't where I wanted them to be. You can see I've penciled a lot of my spreads and then just not used them. I did keep up with my weeklies though, but even then my weeklies started to taper off. And this is where my mental health was starting to really go, because I was worried about my gran. I was having a lot of panic attacks at work. I was struggling to keep up with everything. And then I went to do June's setup as flowers and plants, but I was copying a theme from 2019 and I accidentally wrote July. So I will go back in a minute to July. But for June, I went for Pride Month because this is where I started my Pipsticks sticker subscription. And it was, in a world with so much hatred, everyone should be allowed to love. And basically, yeah, all of this just very colourful, very bright. But again, I didn't do any of my memories. I barely filled in my habit tracker. I didn't do any of my gratitude. I didn't do my moods. I did all this setup and didn't use it. I feel like I let myself down. And then July, I am very proud of this one. I really like how this came out and I will be doing this one for 2022. This was my very first attempt at a Dutch door as well. So I had like my goals and my work and my self-care. We were going to do an engagement party through the summer, but due to like coconut, we decided to postpone it until sort of spring. I did almost keep on top with this one, and I really like how this looked. But again, didn't do my mood tracker, didn't do my word a day or my memories. I just kind of gave up and just stopped. August, again, I made an attempt. I did the front page, or I started to. There we go. So I was going to do a sunflower and daisies theme, and I was going to write August here. But the quote was, "Even on the darkest days, I will stand tall and find the sunlight," which is something that I occasionally need to remind myself to do because I forget that sometimes. And yeah, you can see I literally did that and then nothing else except the first weekly that I'm quite happy with, and I look forward to doing that next year. So September, October, I did absolutely nothing. I didn't even look at my journals, and my mental health was at its worst that I'd been at all year. But then November, I kind of just got inspired again and I started rewatching videos and I decided to just do a bit of practice. And so I did do a November spread and I was quite happy with how this came out. And I did this more as a business spread, and this is what gave me the idea for the layouts that I'm now going to use moving into 2022. But we've got November, the last month of autumn, but the beginning of a new adventure. And this is where I start playing around with Posca paints a bit as well. And I really love this sort of dark green, foresty green and gold theme. My goals, YouTube stats, Instagram stuff, content planning that you can see I didn't use, video planning, and then you got my candle planning, my brain dump, which I have used, my sales, restocks, video plans, and then December, the month of joy, happiness, and to finish what you started, which is ironic. But I went for like this sort of almost like a very pastel coloured December theme. So more of a winter than Christmas. And again, I've not really utilised it as much as I would hope, but that's because I've been doing other things and I've not needed to use it because I've gone on to more spreads, but I will fill that in at the end of the year. And then the last thing that I've got in here, these are all just things that I've done to help set up for upcoming. So when I've been planning my 2022 spreads, I've been using this for like what sort of spreads I want to include, how I'm going to lay pages out, practice for my reading journal, things like that. That is my 2021 run through and flip through. As I said, it's not pretty, it's a mess, it's scattered kind of like me, but it's an honest look at how things have been for me this year, and it's an honest reflection of what goes on in my day-to-day and what goes on in my life. And so I hope that you can at least sort of have more of an understanding of where I'm coming from and why I maybe am the way that I am or do things the way that I do things. And yeah, hopefully that'll give you a bit more of an insight and still give you maybe some inspiration or ideas for themes for next year. It's certainly, even just flipping through this now, I'm like, oh, I've now got extra ideas for next year that I hadn't thought of. So, you know, I wouldn't say it's a waste of a year because I'm still very happy. The ones that I did do, I'm really happy with, but it's definitely helped me that I need to refocus on what is actually important for my bullet journal moving forward. So I hope you enjoyed that video. Leave any comments. I don't really have any specific requests for comments this time. So if you have any comments that you'd like to leave, feel free. If you yourself have struggled this year, let me know. I'd love to reach out and just, you know, give you a virtual hug. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like and subscribe so that you never miss any updates from me. And I will be back very shortly with another flip through, or this is the second flip through, I don't know yet. But I hope you're good, I hope you're staying safe, and until the next video, I will see you soon. Bye.